Penguin Random House Audio presents The Problem with Being a Person: How an Existentialish Philosophy Can Ground Us in Modern Chaos. This is the author, Talia Pollock. For and because of Hannah, you are meaning out the wazoo. Preface: Red light, green light. I washed down a mouthful of sugar cookie crumbs with a gulp of cold lemonade fresh from a pack of powder. Then I stand, toss my Dixie cup into the overflowing trash bin encircled by a large family of bees, and jog over to the field. I can hear the lemonade sloshing in my stomach, and I can feel butterflies in there too, drowning in tidal waves of pink sugar water. "All right, guys," the 16-year-old counselor calls out, "take your places." All 30 of us campers line up on a white spray-painted line on the grassy field. I size up my opponents, all 4 feet of them. Long legs, fast. Sports goggles, cerebral. Jumping up and down, enthusiastic today but anointed ADHD in 10 years and dependent on Ritalin in 15. "You all remember the rules of the game, right?" the boy in charge asks. "When I say green light, you move. When I say red light, you freeze. If I catch you moving even a smidge after I say red light, you have to go back to the start. The first one to tag me wins." A symphony of hoots and hollers break out. One kid's voice pierces the choir as he shouts, "What does the winner get?" "You get to be it," says the counselor, which means you get to tell everyone else what to do. The hoots and hollers return as the counselor walks 20 feet away from the group. He plants himself with power and shouts, "Green light!" We run around while the counselor shouts colors at random. At every red light, at least a couple of campers fail to freeze in time and get shipped back to the start, their progress negated, enthusiasm extinguished over that one uncontrolled twitch. But with every green light, the collective optimism kicks back into high gear. Whenever I think back to this childhood game, I feel an inner sense of chaos. I remember the pandemonium of motion, the apprehension of not knowing which color was coming next, the erratic movements that would have surely led to an ACL tear if any of us had weighed over 90 pounds. I can recall my powerlessness, my acceleration and my deceleration commanded by a teen with too much power. For me, it's effortless to jump back into the anxious feeling of red light, green light, because I still play it today. Except instead of a bellowing green light, I hear, "You're enough." And in place of red light, it's, "You're made for more." And instead of being managed by a high schooler getting paid $12 an hour, I'm being conducted by society. Educators believe red light, green light is a great game because it trains kids to listen with concentration and respond with control and intention. It also has built-in cardio and an invaluable life lesson. While it may seem at first that winning is a byproduct of being strong and nimble, we quickly learn that it's in fact the best listeners who are the victorious ones and the most obedient. We're taught that the champion is the one who's the strongest at complying. So, later in life, when the person who is it tells us that we'll be happy when we have a consistent morning routine, a side hustle turned job you love so much that work doesn't even feel like work, or full eyebrows even though yesterday's it banned brows thicker than a number 2 pencil, we apply our well-honed listening skills from summer camp and comply. Listen to your body. You never regret a workout. Imagine where you could be next year if you start now. Live in the moment because it's all you've got. Your career doesn't define you. You are what you do. Be yourself. Fake it till you make it. Good things come to those who hustle. Self-care. You can sleep when you're dead. Self-care. Follow your gut. Follow this fail-proof system. We are fed such contradicting instructions at such a rapid pace that most of us survive by idling in yellow light. Otherwise, the whiplash is too strenuous. It's likely what keeps 78% of chiropractors in business. Whether the topic is happiness, beauty, success, meaning, or purpose, every commandment has a counter-commandment. It's comical, really. Absurd, some might say. It used to be that receiving all this conflicting advice was at least an intentional pursuit. Attending a seminar, buying a book, listening to Dr. Laura Schlesinger on the radio or Dr. Phil on the TV, glancing up in a high school gym locker room. But now we get red-lighted, green-lighted, especially with, our heads down. Memes, clips, magazine ads, TV commercials, even the sidewalk board at the bar down the street has an instruction for how to live. It's no wonder the games of red light, green light would quickly dismantle. The girls got bored and formed clusters, the boys took water breaks, the counselor who was almighty at the beginning lost steam. I remember standing on the field with my eyes wide and my head ping-ponging back and forth. I remember floating out of my body to get an overhead view of my options. I remember not knowing if I should be giving it all my effort like those sweaty, breathless boys, or if I should opt out and stand in the huddle of whispering girls. I remember knowing that the point was to want to be it, but that desire had no appeal. And that concerned me. I remember that concern turning to shame. What was wrong with me for not wanting to win the game? I remember questioning, if winning is not the point of my existence, well then, what is? And then I heard the counselor blow his whistle and say, "Game over, guys," and I felt relieved to not have to think about this again until tomorrow. Chapter 1. Normal Degrees. We were going on hour 3 of our Zoom hypnobirthing class when Cynthia explained that a relaxed throat equals a relaxed vagina. Once you've reached 10 centimeters of dilation, she said, you should start deep breathing through your nose all the way to the lower back of your throat and down through your body behind baby. I closed my eyes to practice visualizing my baby gliding out of me like a kid on the blue tarp of a slip and slide, positioned perfectly on a bright green grassy backyard hill. It must have been the image of our daughter's ejection out of me that had ejected Jessie off the couch, down the hall, and into my office, which we had begun converting into our nursery with a tape measure in tow. When the virtual birthing class ended, I headed for bed to listen to my peaceful delivery mantras and visualize my relaxed vagina as I fell into a deep slumber. As I passed him, I caught a glimpse of Jessie maniacally taking measurements. The next morning, we rendezvoused at the kitchen table, where he, straight-faced like he was presenting possible solutions to the very distressing beaver overpopulation problem continually brought up at our small towns meetings, walked me through his assessment of our floor situation. I didn't know we had a floor situation, I said as I shoveled cereal into my mouth. Option A, he replied sternly after sipping his coffee and placing the light gray mug with black, ironic, "This meeting sucks" lettering on it on the table. Pay a ridiculous amount of money to install carpet wall to wall. I replied. Option B, he offered with a furrowed brow. Get a still very expensive custom-sized rug to fill the entire floor since it's not a standard size. Okay, I said, wondering if the difference between a custom rug and a custom carpet is like the difference between a padded bra and breast implants, where one just lays on top while the other gets permanently affixed. And option C, Jessie asserted, order a cheapo, wrongly sized, crappy toxic rug, my words, not his, sight unseen. I paused. The amount of time I guesstimated gave the impression that I was considering our floor situation with as much thoughtfulness as I'd given to my grow out my terrible layers cut by a dangerously persuasive new hairstylist who said they'd make my hair easier to style but was full of shit conundrum. Then I told Jessie that I agreed option A seemed like an unnecessary use of funds, but I couldn't offer input on options B and C without actually touching rugs to understand the differences better. He looked at me as if I said we were out of dish soap while he was eating off a fork I'd let my dog lick clean instead. I reminded him that I can't make decisions without involving all my senses. He should have remembered when I couldn't pick a bathtub without getting into it in the store. He was right to stop me from getting nude in the Home Depot for the full bathing effect, and how I couldn't choose a wedding cake without 3 tastings or a
Sample complete. Ready to continue?